I told you this guy's a genius.
Self-proclaimed, maybe.
Well, as long as it works for him.
Exactly my point.
Awesome.
Okay. Are we still up and running? Everything's all right? Yeah, I have to finish this because I came here. Right. Yeah. Just a second. I'm coming, honey. You know, it's so sad. It's so sad. I had a really, you may call it a strange incident, but I'm so alone. You know, I'm so super alone. It's not the point. The point is that I just went down and I saw one of my neighbors still had the light on. And I told another neighbor, and then he said, yeah, I'm gonna tell them because he lives in the same house. And then I went to tell them anyway, and now he's gonna tell it also. Because I like them, right? I just like to say hi, and if I don't have a reason, then sometimes it's hard to say hi to someone. So also didn't really care. I mean, if I want to say hi to you, I'm gonna say hi. If you don't want to say hi to me, you know, I can still say hi, or just say, you know what? Who cares? And there are people I like better than others. You know, some people are super bossy. Some people really think they own the place. And I started to get a bit tired of apologizing. You know, I'm running out of this sugar, which may be good, but I don't think so. Right, I got a little bit sick of apologizing. And the reason is simple. Because people take it for granted. You know, they think you have to apologize. So when you live with people, there's something that you may call psychology. Right? Just because you're old doesn't mean that you're good. And that makes sense. I mean, just because you're old doesn't mean you're good. Just because you're here longer doesn't give you the right to just come right into my face and say something. You know, you can also knock. You can say, you know, Herr Reusch, do you have a moment? There's something I would like to discuss with you. And, you know, I have these incidents with people who just think they're so super right about their opinions, who they are, all this kind of stuff. That, you know, I don't quite get it. You know, who are you worshipping in your life? That's an important question, because if you're unconscious about who you're worshipping, you may worship the wrong people. And I simply think to myself, I mean, you know, you can worship science, I get that. But science only has some of the answers, because science cannot explain to you why you feel the way you feel. But nature can. And you can, right? I mean, science is always about people looking at things outside of themselves. Spirituality is about looking at things inside of yourself. And that means, you know, if I'm super sure that I'm really good, then I may not understand why I have problems with certain people, and I always think it's their fault because I'm walking around like this. Yeah, but if everybody does that, how can we work together? Because if I cannot see what your abilities are, right? If I cannot see, oh wow, already inhaling that. I think I just want sugar. I think I actually need sugar. And the question is, do I need sugar because that's a symptom of addiction, or does my body need it because I'm channeling, you know, whatever kind of energy? You know, I'm not sure. It's possible though. It's possible. Yeah. And I think, and I agree with myself on that one, that people need sugar because they got used to it. You can get used to thinking that you know, and then you're addicted to always knowing things. You know, there's people like that. Because it makes you feel powerful in the face of other people. But if your knowledge comes from reading instead of conscious reflection, you know, I think that's something I picked up from Ramdas. You know, you can know knowledge right? You cannot be knowledge, right? You can have knowledge or know knowledge, but you can only be wise. You know, you cannot have wise, but you are wise and you have knowledge. So being wise means that's like Uncle Iroh in the Avatar series, The Last Airbender, right? Uncle Iroh, he has experience, but he also looks at the whole picture. He realizes that the 4 nations are actually one nation. He knows that, and he draws strength from, you know, looking at all the different cultures. Whereas the Fire Lord thinks he's the best. And that's of course a misconception, because if he would really look at what his people are doing, you know, of course, I mean, in that sense, you can say fire is the most powerful, but only because it's like, you know, it's hot-headed. And of course, it's also disrespectful to assume that the other nations have nothing to contribute. Because if they would work together, I mean, think of the great things they could accomplish. But they don't, because everybody's too set in their ways. And that's, of course, the whole ideology of, you know, the idea of a commune. You know, what's that about? Wow, that's hot. What's the ideology of a commune? It's basically, you know, acknowledging that each of us has a certain ability, and then working together to bring out those abilities. But it's actually different, because if you want to build a commune, you know, you have to find people that already know what they're doing. Because if you get together now, let's say with 20 people or 100 people, and they're all uncertain about their place in the universe, you know, it's basically impossible to do anything at all. Which is why you have to have people that already know what their strength is, that are already living it, and then you can build a commune together. Otherwise, you're just gonna be like, you know, children in kindergarten, and nobody's gonna accept the leader. But even in a commune, there has to be somebody who says this is the final choice. Or you have to have people that simply live together and they try to be as harmonious as they can be. Which means that if I have something to say, I'm going to be heard. But if the group decides, or if their leader decides, I think that's the best choice, you know, everybody has to agree who the leader is. And that's a very tough thing. Like, who's the leader? Well, the strongest mind. The mind that's least prone to sickness and corruption is a form of sickness. If you accept money as a bribe money, then you have a sick mind, my friend. And in that sense, sure, watching porn also is a symptom of a sick and diseased mind. And that may show then in your body. And it took me years of training and cleansing to even consider the possibility of, yeah, I'm never going to touch porn again. And, you know, I'm not saying, you know, that I'm fully healed, but I have a feeling I'm doing good. You know, for myself, I think I'm doing good. And, you know, I cannot say every day feels the same and then it's different. Every day I wake up, I'm a little bit different. You know, how many people do you know that can spend days on end without another person to look them in the eye and say, you're doing good, Because there's nobody that tells me that. I have to say it myself, you know? I have to say it myself. And I have a very strong sixth sense, you know? It's not that I can speak with dead people. No, you know, I can hear people that are alive from across the room. And that's very strange. Like, very strange. And I like being alone at home sometimes. Alright? I think I've said it, you've heard it, I don't know what, you know? I have faith that my YouTube content will continue. I think I've found the way now. I think it's getting better. But also honest, right? It's like, I'm not making up stuff. I'm not saying I don't watch porn if I still watch it. I haven't watched it in a while. I've deleted all the images and I feel like my phone's turned off. I haven't done that in ages. You know, from where I'm standing, that's madness because it's a wholly new terrain and I have no idea how long I will manage. Maybe for the rest of my life. And maybe just for 2 weeks. Whatever happens, I'm just going to continue no matter what. And that feels like this right now, but maybe tomorrow, you know, I always have times where I say I don't want to continue anymore. You know, I'm just sick of it. I just want to stop. But what, you know, how can you stop? I mean, you're living. How can you stop? And that's a good question. You know, I just want it, you know, I want a natural end, whatever that means. I want an end that fits my story. And to me, ending it prematurely is just being a pussy and being weak. I mean, that's easy to say, but I mean, living is harder than giving up. And I rather give up on pornography than on other things. That's just my personal choice. Because if I give up on pornography, I may have a very nice romantic relationship with a woman that I may have never met. You know, about that I'm still uncertain, which I have made clear in hours of conversation that I shared with the world, that I feel like I'm in love, but I have no idea what that means, and I'm not even sure with who. I think I'm just in love with nature. That's the easiest thing to accept.